And welcome to Strange Brew on this Saturday morning of Spring Break 2025. And the cast and crew of Center Grove Trojan Beat, I'm Chris Wood, joined by Rob Thompson. And special shout out to Strange Brew for hosting us here today on this beautiful Saturday morning, as well as More Lawn Care for helping making this possible to be on site here today. And our first guest of the day is Mr. Joey Schmitz, a Center Grove 4-year varsity player for the basketball program. And as well, Rob Thompson, who is the expert behind the scenes, and as I like to say, the guy who has the big chair, as I have the little chair, for what we do here. And first off, Rob, welcome again on a Saturday morning, our first Saturday morning podcast.
Hey, Woodsy, what's up, buddy? Yeah, this is exciting. I actually told my whole family last night I couldn't do anything. I had to be in bed by 9 because I was pumped up. This is like game day for me. So super excited to be here at Strange Brew. And, we appreciate More Lawn Care and their support. And I'm really excited our first episode today here with Joey.
Speaking of Joey Schmitz, thanks for making the trip over from Terre Haute here to Greenwood for the day. And kind of looking back here, let's talk a little bit about the past for you here in Center Grove. Obviously, you're a Center Grove kid, 4 years in the basketball program. Let's kind of take a step back from that and share for us, Joey, some of the different activities that you did in those middle school years, maybe late elementary years, and kind of how you feel like those things helped make you the guy and your work ethic you have today, which is very successful on the basketball court.
Yeah, so growing up, I played pretty much every sport: soccer, baseball, basketball, football. But I think as I went on in my career a little bit, I stuck with football and basketball. And football I felt like I was pretty good at. And honestly, that's one of the things I wish I'd never stopped playing, because I saw how good Center Grove was growing into my high school years. But anyways, back into my elementary years, I played on JRT football, so I got all the way there. And then I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I just want to focus on basketball. And then I think around 6th grade is when I really devoted all my time to basketball and just started grinding it out from there, and then I stuck with it till high school.
So let's focus on the JRT for a second. Let's just say general and football, okay, non-basketball sport. What are some of the things I tell my son, who's a 6th grader, play as many sports as you can because it makes you a better athlete as a whole, a better person as a whole. Yeah. What are some of those things that you think have helped you become more successful by doing football, be it mentally or physically?
I think football helped me mentally because, JRT's tough. Like, coaches are tough. That's, like, the first time I got a real yelling at from a coach, and I thought that was probably, like, the biggest experience I could have had going into high school sports. And then it was also, like, the first time I think I was challenged in a sport, because before it was all rec leagues. It was all simple travel leagues that I could just dominate everything. And then once I got there, that's, like, where all the best competition comes together, and, like, you get to see where you compare, and then you also get to see like how tough you're willing to be against other guys. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest things that can start your career to kind of push you in the right direction, to get you challenging yourself when you're not practicing or when you're not with the team. And so I thought that was probably the best experience I had, just being challenged, and I thought that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, JRT is a good exposure for young athletes, and when it's very, very organized and very organized and very, very about your role as a teammate. So I'm glad you said that, Joey. I think just a quick little background on you. I remember hearing Joey Schmitz just being involved in basketball for the last however many years, and I remember seeing a little scrawny jersey falling off of you, 7th grader Joey Schmitz, and you're starting to get buckets then. It was starting to happen a little bit. And then I think the 8th grade year you made another jump, what I recall. And, was that Coach Goody that year?
It was.
Yeah, so I think play number 1 was for Joey, right? And play number 2 was for Joey. You were really good coming off screens, really good attacking gaps. Obviously got a great pull-up game. At that age you had it, which obviously developed into – you're a sniper now, but I think with you, at what point did you say? Obviously, you said you did JRT, but why basketball at that time? Why with obviously Center Grove the way it is, football, baseball, like everyone has to make choices at some point. Why then, and what attracts you to the basketball?
I think I played basketball majority of my majority of the year because I would play football during football season, basketball, and then basketball would go all the way into the summer with AAU.
Yep.
And at that point, I was getting on AAU teams that were pretty good. And, I was playing for Indy Heat for a couple years, and I was like, I'm pretty good at this, so I kind of want to stick my time to this. And for some reason, when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I had this, really deep mindset about getting better, and I was always in the gym on my own. And even my parents were, trying to get me out of the gym at that age. And so I think that's what kind of stuck me to it is, I wanted to be in the gym for this game. It's not like I dreaded going anywhere for this game. So that's when I really just started to lock in on it and then keep going. And then once I got to 7th grade, when I was finally playing for 7th grade middle school team, I think that's when I kind of realized that I might be the best player at my school. Then now I want to try even harder. And then 8th grade came. Well, let's go back to 7th grade. 7th grade we had a really rough year winning games, but I still felt like I was pretty good and I want to do something. So 8th grade comes, we win a lot more games, and I was scoring a lot of points, and I felt really good about myself being one of the top dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think those 2 years in middle school really told me that this was the right decision, and I was moving forward in a good spot with this.
Hey, let me touch on one thing with you though, Joey, and I think it's important because Coach Wood and I have, we're doing this podcast and we have a lot of conversations. Coach has been coaching for a long time, and and I've kind of been in and out of coaching and being with young people here in the community. And so you said something though that I really want to touch on because I think it's really important, and I didn't expect to go here with you, but 7th grade you said it was really frustrating.
It was,
Okay, a lot of losses. Didn't go your way. In the world we live in now, and Coach and I just got done coaching our combined hoops teams, and we're trying to bring guys together after they do their season at middle school and go play guys, and seasons don't go the way they want to go, and I think now with everything, the first part of that comes out of people's mouths well, we're going to leave or we're going to transfer or we have that option now. Tell me though, and this is what this is about, playing hoops for Center Grove and sticking it out thick and thin no matter what, regardless of what team you're on, regardless how many wins you get as a 7th grader. What's it like, though, in the end when you just keep on with you put your head down? Because I know how much work you put in. Tell me, how much did it matter? How much does that matter now in 7th grade versus when you were in it, oh, my gosh, this is terrible, right? Does that make sense? I want you to paint the picture of, that was stinky, right? But it really didn't matter. So I just kind of help me around that.
So when I was in it, worst experience ever. I mean, into middle school, I thought the whole world was ending.
The whole world was going to end.
And everybody was like, "Oh, basketball team's terrible. Nobody on the team's good." That was my impression. But I mean, I always knew that I wanted to stay in Center Grove because at that time, Trace was on the basketball team. I was going to games. That was sick. I wanted to play at that level. And so I think that's one thing that kept me in it. And then just outside of Center Grove alone, I had a lot of influence. Like I said, my AAU team was really good. We were considered one of the best in the state, and I was super excited about that. And I think the stuff I did outside of Center Grove and on my own made me realize that there was more than just this season, and next season was what we were aiming for. Because throughout of all Center Grove sports, I think this was the first year that I had a non-successful season. Because all throughout hoops ball and all throughout football and pro bowls, we were amazing. We never lost any games. And so this was something new for sure. But I think we've had losses in the past from throughout different teams, and I was always looking forward to the next game. So I think it was easy for me to just look forward to the next season. But it also gave me motivation. I can't let this happen again. And that was also pretty big for me at the time, I think.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying, and I was a terrible question. You answered it great. It was a terrible question on my part, but it doesn't matter what you're doing in 7th grade. In Center Grove, you have the ability, you have the support, you have the resources to continue to bounce back from a loss or a bad game because of what you are, what this community is. Correct? That's right. Okay. Coach, it's all you, bud.
Define work ethic for me.
Oh, gosh.
How much time we got?
I would say.
Well, if this was a classroom, I'd say 15 words or less.
Well, he's got a work ethic. It might take a while.
Do you want me to define it in terms of my life or define it in like an actual definition?
Here, yeah.
What does it mean for you to be, for you to have the ultimate success on the court? I'll rephrase the question. We'll take a different direction.
Okay.
For you to have the success that you want to have in your basketball career at the college level, okay, and this is true going back to high school, middle school, etc. What do you think you have to do day in and day out for you to continue to grow your game?
I would always say I've always tried to focus on my weaknesses. So that was what I did throughout all of my career, is whenever I found something I was bad at, that was all I did, was work on that.
So take me through specific examples of what Joey might do.
Yeah, what's Joey bad at?
Day to day.
What's Joey bad at?
Okay, he's going to take it a different direction.
Actually, what's Joey bad at? What we try to work on, Joey?
Okay, right now, after freshman season at Rose, I was a shooter. That's all I was. That's how you guard me. You just face guard me, don't let me shoot threes. And near the end of the season, I started to get better at getting to the hoop, getting to the rack, and finishing. But I don't know, for some reason, my finishing got worse as I went to college, and I just stopped doing as much. So that's what I'm really working on this summer. And then also just trying to get bigger, because college is a new physicality level, and I was just not ready for it. And so I think I got to get way stronger this summer, and that's what I've been working on a lot. And so work ethic for me is getting back in the gym, lifting at least 6 days a week, and then getting some shots up, playing open gyms at least 4 or 5 days a week. And I feel like that's one of the things that I've always dedicated myself to with work ethic, is putting in the time, because there's times where you don't want to put in the time, and like it's your choice whether or not you do it. And just like with anything, like your schoolwork, it's your choice whether you want to get it done or not. And that's like you've got to make the time for the stuff that you want to happen.
So when you're doing your workouts, I know you're doing some of this on your own and just doing, like you said, playing pickup games, but are you typically working with a coach one-on-one? Is it tandem, a couple? I mean, I don't know what necessarily the rules are nowadays, or what you can or can't do off season. Kind of take us through what is that workout day-to-day like for you when it comes to working on your actual skills?
So, I mean, it's rarely with a coach. It's typically sometimes with a player. My preference, I love working out alone. I don't really like working out with others, but as a college coach, you always influence your guys to try and get other people in the gym and work out with other people. And I mean, so I try and do that to the best of my ability, but I also just love getting in the gym on my own and grinding on my own and seeing my own work progress. And so I kind of enjoy that.
I will let me piggyback on this, because I before we have guests, I like, man, what are some things I want to make sure I say to our guests, whether I know you or not. And it kept going back. I remember, I used to take my boy shooting a lot before I had some of my health issues, and we'd go in the gym and I'd show him how to shoot. Like, I was a better shooter than Joey. He just doesn't know that yet, right?
Yeah,
so
okay.
we could probably go to the gym afterwards and probably prove this.
Right.
But I remember walking in the sack with Kellen, my oldest, and Joey's in there by himself. And I'm like, and Joey's kind of a quiet kid, puts his head down, goes to work. You could tell he's working, right? Like, I'm on the other court, he's working, and I just give him a heads up. Well, sometimes when I walk in the gym, I'm pretty loud. I can be, right? And I know that's opposite of what Joey is. So at this one moment, I was like, Joey, what's up? He's sweating and whatever. And I walk over to Kellen. You went back to working out, and I was like, dude, watch this kid.
Yeah.
All right, you were an example for, like, I was a parent in that moment, right? So, like and a parent with my kid, but my appreciation and admiration for you in that moment totally changed, because that didn't just happen once. It happened every day I was in there. And that's what work ethic is. And I'm answering that for you because that's what you did. And I would even tell Kellen, like, dude, don't talk to Joey unless Joey talks to you if he's working out.
That is very true.
Yes, it is very true, because you're dialed in. That's your spot, man.
Yeah.
That's your safe haven. And when you find it, you love it and you stick in it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I saw of you and your at work ethic, and I think that's what's probably carried you to this point.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, hearing those stories of, like, people coming in and watching me, like, I don't even remember that. And, like,
no, you wouldn't.
I mean, it's kind of cool looking back on it, like, because there was a bunch of people I remember coming in, but I don't I wouldn't think that they ever thought of anything of me just working out. I assumed they saw me working out. Oh, if he's working out, move on.
It went. I was. I do have a couple degrees, which is shocking.
Okay.
Right. I do. I am an educated person.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time. I'm not no Rose-Hulman. Like I went to Terre Haute for a few years, and they told me to go home. Right.
Okay.
So your experience in Rose-Hulman is a lot different than what mine was at Terre Haute. So, but I had a coach, Ed Schilling, senior. He was a Butler. He played at Butler. He was a professor at IUPUI.
Okay.
His son, Ed Schilling, played at Lebanon or whatever. He was a coach for the Nets. And he would come in. So he was Calipari's right-hand man for a long time.
Okay.
UMass, when they made
Mr.
that.
Ball handler, April McDivitt connection.
Yep.
Tom Crean assistant.
He came in, and he was a kid, he was a small-town kid, like you. And it reminded me his story he told me when I was 18 sitting in undergrad. He brought in a thick binder. It was a scout book for the NBA.
Okay.
And it literally had every tendency. Like if Joey Schmitz was on there, like he'll drive twice with his right hand, it was deep, right?
Yeah.
But he made a comment in that, and he goes, the biggest success and why I've had the success in basketball is I always practiced and worked out, and my work ethic was like someone was always watching me.
Yeah.
And he goes, and that came true when I was in Lebanon. He goes, I got my first shot, my only D1 offer. I was in the gym working out, and the coaches were behind the bleachers. They were wood bleachers.
Yeah.
And you could look through them.
Okay.
They were watching him because they wanted to see what he was doing without anybody around him.
Yeah.
And he got a scholarship.
Yeah.
And that's Joey Schmitz.
I feel like that's very true.
Absolutely. Yeah. You work like someone's always watching you.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like, because I always had a gym at my house, I would always work out at my house, and I would go hard there. But then once I got to the high school, it was like you don't know who's looking through the doors, and it's like if anyone was ever doing that was like always in the back of my head. It was like if anyone was ever looking through the doors, like I want to make sure that they know what's going on.
Absolutely. That's who you are, man.
Yeah.
That's why we love you. That's why you're here.
Bring it a little closer to you.
All right.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Wood's over here bossing Joey. Coach Wood is the man. Like he's the boss.
This is why kids go to Central, because they don't want to listen to me at North. Because I get a little bossy.
He just bosses people around. Like he's been yelling at me all morning about my mic placement. So it's not you.
Yeah. Okay, so Joey, let's move on to high school here a little more specifically, and I'm just going to read your bio for your high school career based on what Rose-Hulman has.
All right.
And I want you to tell me, what are you probably most proud of these different things? Okay. 4-year varsity letter award winner for basketball, IBCA large school all-state, 2-time all-county, all-USA Central Indiana third team, Indiana Basketball Coaches Association first team academic all-state, National Hispanic Recognition Award, National Honor Society, National Mathematics Honor Society, Student of the Month, Top 20 Award 2024 graduating class. Which one of those are you most proud of when you look at your holistic high school experience?
Honestly, I don't think it's any of the basketball ones. I think I'm most proud of the top 20 in my academic class for Center Grove.
That's a heck of an achievement, because you're talking, 670 kids, something like that?
That was on the dot, 677, I think it was. So, yeah.
I mean, my son's a junior this year, and it's about 745 or something like that. That's the number I'm hearing right now. Yeah. So I guess I should say our sons. My apologies.
I don't claim mine, so.
So when we look at your high school career specifically, what are some of the things you enjoyed to do as a student in Center Grove? We're talking about the community. What are those things you look forward to?
That's a good question, Wood.
So outside of basketball?
Yeah, non-sports or non-basketball related.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed kind of.
He was always in the gym, Wood.
Yeah. I would say I definitely enjoyed going to other sports. I was at a lot of other sports that I would go and cheer on my friends at, and that was always something to look forward to.
Were you part of the student section in a football Friday night?
I was front row most of my senior year. But so those were always fun.
Was there a hangout place in the community that you'd go to with your buds or anything like that?
Just one of their houses, honestly. It was a go to the game, go back to the house, hang out for the night, and
your boo thing. You've had a girlfriend for a while, right?
Yep, I've had a girlfriend for 2 years. Yep, she goes to Greenwood though, so she's not much in the Center Grove community, but I try and get her there.
Yeah. So tell let's stick with high school, and I want to get the academic side because I think there's stuff that's special about you and your thought process for being 19. But freshman year, going into high school basketball, Coach Hahn's system.
Yeah.
I know there's some excitement around Joey Schmitz coming into the program and that class, and it's funny how things shake out. But just coming in, obviously, I want to get to your records and what you did, junior, senior year, and had a heck of a run. But just kind of tell us, at what point, that freshman year, were you ready? Okay, like let's go, right?
Yeah.
Let's make a run at this thing.
So I mean, freshman year was weird because that was coming off of COVID.
Oh yeah,
and
okay. Yeah.
So we were trying to figure out when we were going to get workouts in, how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was also weird for basketball because you haven't played against anybody in 5-6 months. It's just been you and on your own, on yourself.
Yeah.
So I came into that season expecting to play varsity, and I think that might have been the wrong expectation coming in for me.
Yep.
I think my head was a little too big at that time, and I honestly said that freshman year is probably my biggest disappointment in basketball because I came in wanting to play varsity, and then we got there, and we were in open gyms, and I was not as good as I needed to be. I hadn't played against anybody in 5 months, so I was super rusty, wasn't playing my best basketball at all. And so I just got super down on myself. Like, it became, I've always said this, like, it became more of a business than the game that I wanted to play.
Yep.
And so at that point it was pretty rough because, like, then I got put on JV going into the season, and I was like, ah. But I was getting like the jersey for varsity to go split time. But I really wish that I was playing varsity that season. I think I could have if I carried over the confidence from my 8th grade year to my freshman season. But I think COVID had an impact in that, and then I think also my mentality drug me down with it too. So yeah.
So sophomore year, varsity. Did you make the jump varsity that year?
Yep. So I did make the jump to varsity.
Yep.
And I was coming off the bench. Again, I had higher expectations for myself that year.
Who were seniors that year?
Seniors were Jordan Vaughn.
Okay.
And Shane Bennett.
Okay.
And I think there's one more, but I can't remember.
So backcourt was you, Bundy, and Ankney?
Yep, and McComb.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that year I wanted to start. Like, I wanted to, because all the guards were leaving from the previous year.
Yep.
And so I thought I had to get a pretty good spot to start in, but I had to play point guard, which was totally new to me.
Yeah.
I was always shooting guard. I was always playing on the wing.
Yep. And
so I wanted to play point guard. I expected to start, and then comes the season, Bundy's starting over me. So I'm like, someone in my own class starting over me. I was like, but I mean, looking back on it, it was great for our team in the future that he did that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I wished happened my sophomore year, but I got better. By the end of the year, I was one of the leading scorers some of the games, and that felt good going into my junior year.
Yep.
That season ended a little rough. I think we lost in championship sectional game.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. But I don't think we had the culture that we needed to that year to win very much at all.
No.
And
it was kind of in between year.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like we were trying to rebuild because we lost a couple pieces, but we could have had the chance to be really good if we had the right mentality, I think.
But then that led into junior year.
And that led into junior year where the seniors at that time really knew what they wanted, and they were bought in. And
bought in.
That made all of us bought in, and we became really good that year, and that was super fun. Like, that kind of relit all of my basketball dreams, I guess, for my high school career, because it brought me back to 8th grade when I was scoring a lot of points. Like, I was becoming more of the guy on the team, but Marcus was still there, so Marcus was kind of leading the team as well. But it was good to learn from Marcus, I feel like, because Marcus did things the right way. He knew how to handle himself on the court, and so I kind of took after Marcus a little bit. But I mean, I still had my own good season that year, I felt like.
And I think I was in the locker room with you guys that year, and I think that is a group that was a really fun group. Like, I didn't do anything, right? Like, I just coached freshmen, and I mean, we dominated, but I mean,
all because of the coaching.
Yeah, I mean, there were no bad coaching decisions or anything that year in freshman, but we won't get into that. That's not about this podcast.
Okay.
But But I do, I remember we were up in Kokomo. That was your junior. Was that your junior year?
Yes, it was.
Kokomo, right? And they had Flory Badunga.
Yeah.
And that I felt like I remember walking in. And this is my perspective on that. We walked in the hotel, and I walked in, and I think there were some other teams in there, and I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
Because I knew what we had, and I knew what Marcus was in that group, and I knew what you had, and that was a very, very fun time that I remember, because we went in that weekend, you guys, but we went in and just battled, and we put on a show.
Yeah.
And we had Flory outside of a kind of a bum thing happen at the end, right?
Yeah.
You got a bucket and lost, but that culture, what you guys are, like, great point about Marcus and your group as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that weekend was super fun. I think we were on like a 9 or 10 game win streak at that point, and we were on a high going into those couple games that weekend. And the Flory game, like, we played a great game. Like,
great game.
We did all we could, I think, on Flory. He had 10 points, and
yep. And he just had his biggest points there at the end.
Yeah, on the buzzer beater. But
yep.
I don't know. I mean, it kind of showed us how good we are, because Flory was, and Kokomo was like top 2 in the state, top 3 maybe.
Yep.
And we gave him a run for the money, and I feel like I kind of helped us later in the season, I think.
So junior year, starting to play a little bit more. At what point did you know kind of what your role was? And when I say role, like, you say Joey Schmitz, what can Joey do? What does Joey excel at? The shooter, right?
Yeah. So I was always a shooter. Like, my percentage was always up there, but I think junior year more so than my senior year, I got to the basket a lot more. Like, I was a slasher, kind of, but it was all for myself. Like, I wasn't much of a passer. I was always a playmaker to get myself shots, get myself buckets, and I think that's where I kind of fit in, because Marcus was the only other guy, but Marcus wasn't as selfish, so to say, that I was, but at some point I feel like that's needed on some teams for guys just to go get buckets, and I thought that I did that at times that we needed it, and I feel like that was like almost the first time in my career that I was like, I'm the dude, like, I can go get us in this game by getting a bucket right now. And I love that feeling of just like, I'm going to get a bucket for you guys.
How good does it feel when you see that ball go through the hoop?
It feels pretty good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But, going back to your question, on my junior year, I would say that I was definitely a scorer, definitely a playmaker for myself, and I think that evolved to be better during my senior year, where I started to make more plays for others, be more of a team guy than just a myself guy. But,
And then real quick, and then Coach will give it to you, senior year.
Yeah.
You come out and just absolutely set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. I think it was a hell of a year for you. So.
Yeah. It was an amazing season for me. I shot the ball with 54% from 3, which is crazy to me that I even still was shooting it that well.
Yeah, we have guys shooting like 30% from the free throw line sometimes, right? That's real, and here you are at a high school level shooting at a clip of 50%. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then it was like I started to get face guarded in games, and it didn't make me happy, but like looking back on it now, I was like, that makes me feel pretty good knowing that I was the one getting face guarded.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it was just game after game. I think I had 2 games all year where I scored less than 10 points, and that was good to know for me. And then being a part of that team where it was all guys from my grade that knew how to play with each other, and I really enjoyed that part of it too.
And I think too that the culture of that team, a lot of different personalities.
A lot of
right. We're all different people anyway, but you get on a team, and my personality will be different than yours and Coach, right? He may be rigid, I don't care, right? Yeah. And activities are different, and I do think that group, you guys all kind of set aside. Now, you all had your problems.
Oh, yeah.
We all do, right?
Yeah.
And we all get mad at each other, especially in the heat of the battle, but it's very impressive that almost all of you handled yourself at a very high professional level, because it was about Center Grove, it was about the team.
Yeah.
Right? And they knew, like, Joey's going to go get his shots.
Yeah.
Right? And they knew Bundy was going to – no one can stop Bundy. He got that old man dribble, right?
Yeah.
He got that old man dribble. He gets where he wants. So, like, there's all those things. And I think that's just really impressive with you.
Yeah, I mean, going into the senior year, I told the senior guys this after the season. Like, I hated some of them going into the senior year. Like, I didn't want to play with them so much in my senior year. And that is part of the reason we started 3-3. But then I think from that point on, we put aside our differences, like you said, and like we just all came together, and the product was amazing to see. And
in my conversation, we have conversations on the side or encouragement words, right? Like, not that anybody wants to listen to any old guys talking to you guys, but like, there were some conversations I have with you and have with somebody else, right? And it's all different. You're all mad.
Yeah.
Y'all see things how you want to see it, but then it got to the point where you guys ran off how many games in a row or something?
Yeah, it was like, I think we went like 16-1 almost end of the season.
Yeah, and then you got hot and just right. So
yeah.
Coach, I'm done talking for a while.
No, you're not, but that's okay.
Go ahead.
So what's good? We're here with Joey Schmitz here at Strange Brew here this Saturday morning. We appreciate Strange Brew hosting us here, as well as thanks to Moore Lawn Care for making it possible for us to start taking this up next step here and there. So thanks again to Andy Moore and Tony here at Strange Brew for all they do to help us out with these broadcasts. And let's jump ahead now, Joey, and let's talk a little bit about the college game, your freshman year. And I'm just going to, again, pull up the stats here for you. It's not like you were just a kid who went there and sat on the bench.
Yeah.
Because you 28 points, season high.
Yep.
Looks like the January 4th game against is it Berea?
Berea, yep.
Was a big night for you.
It was, yeah.
16 field goals in a game, 15 three-pointers attempted in a game. I mean, a guy who played 20 or 38 minutes in a game. I mean, and it was pretty consistent. I think you averaged 27, 28 minutes a game on average or something like that. I mean, for a freshman. So obviously, I guess the first question that comes to my mind, and I'm just going to throw it out there, is those are really impressive stats for a freshman.
Yeah.
So, as someone who honestly doesn't know the answer to this, and I know this is a question that was asked to me as just being part of the program, which I'm middle school program, but why Rose-Hulman? Because it seems like you'd have other opportunities. What I think I know the answer here, but why Rose-Hulman versus maybe something the next step basketball-wise?
Yeah. I just thought it was the perfect fit all around. So, I mean, it all started with the coach. The coach loved me from high school, and he came to, I think he told me, he looked back at it, he came 12 or almost half of our games last year. And that was crazy to see because he was just so invested in me. He wanted me so much. But the other thing was I was deciding between going to a D3, D2 versus going to a Big Ten D1 and be a preferred walk-on. And I think the major factor was number one, academics. Was I wanted to go to a high academic school. So if it was a Big Ten school, it was like a Northwestern or a Purdue that I was going to go play and just try and be a preferred walk-on. And then Rose-Hulman, also great engineering school. That was number one for me. So for D3s, in terms of that, there was a whole bunch of D3s, good D2s that reached out, but they were terrible academically, and that's not what I wanted for my future, so I told them all no. And I was like, if it's going to be a D3, it's going to be Rose-Hulman. Or at the time, it was also MIT. I was trying to get in there, but the school's crazy insane to get into, so that kind of dropped out early, and then it just became Rose-Hulman. And then, but I was still fighting the fact, do I want to go to the D1 school and kind of live the dream that I always wanted to of being a D1 basketball player and going and doing that versus kind of taking a step back and realizing where I'm at and kind of maybe being the dude at a D3 school. And so it took me a while, and I was like, yeah, it would be really cool to get the experience of going D1, but I want to be the guy. I want to be the one who's getting the attention. And I mean, it's weird for me to say that because I don't want the attention off the court, but when I'm on the court, I want it to be me.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I deserve anything off the court. I don't need to be praised or anything, but on the court, I want the ball. So I thought about that, and then that led me to Rose-Hulman, and then all the academics, the coaches. I mean, it ended up just being a great fit once I got there because of how much they valued me and how much they knew I could do because of how much they had seen me play. And so I feel like that's what led to what happened during my freshman season, and I was super happy with that.
Yeah, make one point. Joe, we only have, how many listeners do we have?
I think we're at 6 now, maybe 6.5.
So and probably no one under 18. But talk about being wanted in the recruiting process versus going chasing something maybe not where you wanted, but it's more of an experience. Like I know the recruiting process wasn't always the easiest in the moment, right? A lot of questions like what's going to happen, what am I going to do? So, but if there is anybody that is going through this process or will be going through this process, talk about the recruiting process and being wanted versus going somewhere just because what's on the jersey.
Yeah. So, I mean, the recruiting process was a grind. Like, it was tough. Like, it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And thinking back on it, like, I was glad I did what I did throughout all of it, but it was time consuming and it was a lot. But
stressful.
Yeah, and then I think like the big schools that I wanted to go to, I had like my own coaches reach out to their coaches to try and make that happen. And so I mean, I don't know, something about that fell off. Like, I wasn't going to talk to the coach before I got there. It was just going to be kind of like go see the experience. And I was also like talking to Ethan McComb about like how he likes it at Butler, and he was like, it's great, but I've also heard like some of these other schools, like if you go there as a preferred walk-on, you're just a guy. You won't even get talked to by some people. Like, and so I was like, I don't like that risk. I don't really know what I could get out of it. And then I had my D3 coach Sales, is who the Rose-Hulman men's basketball coach is, and I mean, it felt great to just see him at every single one of my games, talking basketball every single night, and he was super invested. And I feel like I've always had an appreciation for people who put their time into me versus just kind of seeing where I go. And I don't know how to phrase that, but like he was there and he wanted to see me succeed as much as I did, and I think that was what got me. But yeah.
So Coach Sales, right?
Yeah.
And that investment in you.
Yeah.
Rewind a little bit. I want to talk about your investment in others.
Okay.
That's important to you, right?
Yeah.
That people invest in you.
Yeah.
What people probably don't know about you is that while you're grinding through the recruiting process, the basketball season, trying to be as elite as you can be, you're coaching rec basketball.
Yeah.
You're volunteering. You're training. I was telling Coach off air, like you're training one of my colleagues' kids right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what that means to you, though, because I think that's important. I do think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're very successful. You're going to do great things in life. I truly believe it. But I also think it's important that you pay back what you've been given as well. So tell us, you're young, but you're an old spirit.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you, though? And you're kind of already doing it, but I want to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, so like I said, like I like when people give to me.
Yep.
So I felt like with the influence that I had in my basketball career at Center Grove, I wanted to give it elsewhere to somebody else. And I was like, imagine how cool it would be if I was out there coaching like a elementary school team. Mm-hmm. And maybe like the first time I thought about it, it was like, would that be cool, or would that be like weird that a high schooler's out there coaching? And then I was like, nah, like just be different, like go do it and have fun with it. And then I started to get to it, and I like actually signed myself up, and I started being around the kids, and it was just an amazing feeling, like being out there kind of coaching them, seeing them like come to the games and be all over me because they knew what they could be. And then I started making it my own business where I would do individuals and groups, specifically training kids, and then that group of kids got even bigger. And then like, I don't know, just seeing the community kind of come together to try and come to my trainings, like that felt really good. But it was also like, this is good for the community. Like I enjoy like doing this for the younger kids that want to play basketball too.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, and I think when you present yourself in a way that you are giving, I know that, we've got some great people around in our community that train kids and do their thing. But like, like somebody asked me, hey, get a hold of Schmitz, right? Like
Yeah.
I know you're not gonna mess around. He's not gonna mess around with you. So
Yeah.
yeah, awesome, man. So how was that experience coaching rec teams?
I'd say it's some of the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, I stuck with the third grade level for 3 years. I was an assistant coach for 1 year just to kind of get my feet wet in it.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 years I was head coach, and the assistant coach I think was really good for me because I got to see what the head coach did and how he taught the kids, and then I created my own ways of what I wanted to do, what I thought was going to be better. And then my first year as a head coach, like I knew how to train them, how to teach them, how to get them to listen, how to make them have fun with the game too. And I think that was kind of the most gratifying experience for me because we went undefeated that season, and we won every single game.
Yep.
And the kids loved basketball after that point. And I was like, if I can get them to love basketball and like love like how they're being taught to play basketball, because sometimes you can love like playing, but you won't love being taught.
Yeah.
And so when I was teaching them, they like listened to me all the time because they knew that what they were going to get out of it was going to be fun. And so I enjoyed making it fun for them, both in practice and when they were playing the games. And I thought that was kind of really enjoyable for me to see that in them. And then winning the championship was just so much fun for them and for me too.
Hey, Coach, I think Joey might have a better win-loss record than either one of us.
Well, he definitely has a better win-loss record than I do, but
yeah, he might
do that after 28 years of coaching.
Yeah,
so.
he might have us though. He might be the hot new guy here.
I think
Coach.
I went 22-1.
He knows.
There was a time that I knew it was like 96-14 for me at one time after I had your sister and other players both on the girls' side and the guys' side, and
and then it all fell apart, or what happened?
Well, then I went somewhere else. It was rebuilding the program, and
it was never the coach's fault.
Exactly right.
Always the community and where you're at, right?
I know. I take plenty of the responsibility on that.
Yeah.
So, talking about the youth program, my buddy Jeremy Barker was actively involved in that for a number of years, and had just glowing things to say about you and your involvement and the kids looking up to you, which he just thought it was incredible you took the time to do that.
Yeah.
And as someone who has had a son in the hoops program, he's a sixth grader this year, there was a fight verbally to get number 15 this year.
Really? Okay.
My son won that fight.
All right.
But just knowing that you seem very humble to me.
Yeah.
Very determined. But when you want something, you go after it. But the kids in this community definitely do look up to you from that standpoint. So I'm going to change it totally now here, and I'm going to ask you, you're putting together a team. Okay? And what's your coaching philosophy? What type of game do you want to play offensively? What type of game do you want to have your team do defensively?
Yeah.
Just if I was interviewing you for a job at Indiana University as an example, what type of style of game would you want your guys playing?
This is a tough question because I've always thought about coaching third graders is a whole lot different than coaching high schoolers and coaching college.
May not be different than coaching IU last year.
That may be true. But like my third grade philosophy was just go set a top ball screen and let our best player go to work. And then once we got up, then we give it to the rest of the team. We let the rest of the team kind of focus.
Spread the love.
Yeah, and I mean, that was my philosophy for third grade. I don't know, high school, I would definitely say limited sets. Sets are great sometimes, but I want to play like a motion offense, kind of get like a 5-out ball screen continuity type thing. And then if I were playing, I need some sets though, because I need me to come off some screens, some set screens, some areas that could work, I guess. And then defensively, I want to pressure the basketball. If I wasn't playing, I wouldn't want to pressure the basketball. Or if I was playing, I wouldn't want to pressure the basketball because that's not my game.
Yep.
But as a team, I want to get a team that can be scrappy defensively and kind of get out there and make turnovers, get in transition. So, yeah.
So what's next for Joey Schmitz?
I'd say keep this Rose-Hulman basketball thing going, kind of make it to the NCAA tournament this next year. I want to kind of get my standing up there in all of D3 and see if I can make something happen there, make some more records at Rose-Hulman, win some games. That's the big goal basketball-wise. And then academically, like, I want to keep making engineering work because I really like the academic side of it there, and I want to find an engineering job soon. I've got an internship planned for the summer already. So, yeah.
Let's close out high school real quick, and
Okay.
then let's talk Rose-Hulman briefly, and then we'll close this thing out. Record setting at high school. What records do you have at Center Grove?
I've got most threes in a single season.
How many?
83.
All right.
And then most threes in a single game
How many?
with 9.
Okay.
Yep.
How many career threes?
Oh, gosh.
Do you know that?
At 83, season before was like 45, and season before was like 22 something, so like 140-ish. Yeah.
Well, let's move to Rose-Hulman, and I'll close that era out of Joey Schmitz, man. It was
All
fun
right.
watching you.
Yeah.
You're an ultimate competitor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad kind of have that semi-coach label for you for a little bit, year or two
Yeah.
there, but more importantly, just, doing things with your dad and watching you grow up, through the Center Grove system, man. Super proud of you.
Yeah.
You're a heck of a kid for our kids to look up to. You set an example. And I think the biggest compliment when I talk to my younger guy, like my younger son and his buddies, is, could Joey go play somewhere else? I'm like, yeah, Joey could, right?
I could have.
Yeah. And I think you have an elite skill.
Yeah.
And I think it is a great example of what future Trojans could be like if they put in some time and they could go out and knock down some shots, because that's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
And you poured it in every night, every day that you had the opportunity to. So I appreciate you. We've had some awesome guests. I think everyone that we've had from a high school level that we've been able to watch, you guys all have kind of the same qualities.
Yeah.
And that's what this thing is about, and that's why we're trying to highlight you.
Yeah.
So appreciate it, man. Fun to watch it. Now, Rose-Hulman, let's stop being sappy. So Rose-Hulman came out of the gate, kind of an unknown.
Yeah.
A little bit, knocking
Yeah.
down some shots. And this is from me following social media.
Yeah.
You start seeing Joey Schmitz with this and Joey Schmitz with that, and then they start guarding you different. Coverage is different. Like how?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm sure coming in the game's a little bit faster, and then you get hot, and then things probably change a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
You're on scouting reports.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was kind of a similar situation to high school. Like, my coach wanted to put me at point guard again. So, he was trying to have me run point, and that was throughout, like, the first couple games of the season. And I wasn't as much of a scorer. I was strictly, almost a playmaker at that point, and I wasn't the guy scoring-wise. I was just kind of out there to fill my role. And I was fine with that. Like, I was starting. I was super happy.
Yeah.
And then it was, like, maybe 4 or 5 games in the season. You realized I probably shouldn't be playing the point. I was better on the wing, and we were like 60s average scoring every game, and so we weren't getting points up. And he was like, he's got to make a change. He got to put me at the wing, and so he did. And then I started playing well. I had my Berea game early in the season. It was 8 threes, and I was lighting it up that game. And then my confidence just boosted from there. And that's when I think that Berea game, everything changed after then, because all the conference teams started playing me totally different. They were running me off the line.
Yeah.
And then as the season progressed, it was almost all the plays started to be for Joey. It was like, run the set so that Joey can come off the screen and get the ball. And I was like, I like this. Like, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
At first, it wasn't like that, and that was completely fine. Like, I had to deserve that. I had to earn my right to that. And so I think, I don't know, that was super fun for me to be able to get the plays called for me and get the go-ahead to do my thing on the court. And there were games throughout the season where I think I made big plays. Other people made big plays. Like, that Berea game wasn't all me. We went on a buzzer beater from one of the seniors on the team. So that was a fun game. But, I mean, yeah, there's new records to chase. There was awards that I wanted that year. Like, newcomer of the year was something I was looking at once we got into conference play. And I think those records and awards, and what I want my legacy to be is what keeps me going and keeps me trying to achieve stuff.
Yeah, I have no doubt you're going to accomplish what you want to.
Yeah.
Coach?
No, I think the only question I have kind of to follow up and finish up my side of this would be, I guess I'm thinking from a fan standpoint, maybe as a player standpoint, what's the biggest difference from being a player in a big high school game compared to being a player in a big college game, no matter what level of college? I mean, just that experience aspect.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, actually. But coming from Center Grove, being a fan in a Center Grove gym or being a player in a Center Grove Pack gym, I think I got that experience once at Rose-Hulman. And part of that is I go to a small school, a small D3, but playing at Center Grove, there's been nearly nothing like that at the college level so far for me. And I feel like there's definitely D3 colleges that create that experience, but Center Grove was something special with being able to play in that gym and hoop in that gym while the crowd was packed, and it was a fun time there versus at Rose.
So best memory of high school?
Okay.
Best memory from college so far?
Best memory of high school, oh gosh. I'd say it's between 2 or 3 games. They're all during my senior season. So I'd say the first one would definitely be at Southport Regional against Franklin.
Second half?
The whole game, really.
Just the whole game?
Crowd was insane.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was the biggest crowd I think I've ever played in front of.
That was awesome.
And it was a great environment. I loved that game. And then I loved Jennings County because
that was awesome.
That was my 39-point game. 9 threes.
And they were 5 out, shoot 33s a game, right?
Yeah.
High power.
Yeah, those are the games I love playing. Just
pack gym,
back and forth, pack gym, like going at it.
The whole community was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think my favorite game that I ever played against was Fishers my senior season because I had a pretty good game that game. They were number 1, undefeated, and we almost knocked them off. And we should have. We should have.
Yeah.
If we could have done that, it would have been great. And it just felt so amazing to play in that game.
Yeah.
Knowing the type of game that I had, but also just like what we were doing at the time as we had started 3-3 and trying to build ourselves back up, I guess.
I'm going to hit on one game. I think it was your senior year. Was that junior year? Was that Bloomington North?
Was that
sectional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Junior.
So no one's even listening. This is just for us now. I mean, no one's sticking through with us talking, right? But we are in a 1-point game?
Yeah.
1-point game, 2-point game?
Yeah.
Had some things not go our way. Coach calls a great play.
Yeah.
Bloomington North's taking the ball out of the baseline. And, no, we are.
Yep.
And Joey called to set a screen on the inbound guy. Runs up on JQ.
Yeah.
Perfectly set. JQ just runs right through Joey. We thought we had it in the bag.
Yep.
And they called a block. And that was devastating.
Yeah.
But I heard something this year. You'll appreciate this.
Okay.
I heard through the grapevine the guy that called it said it was a bad call. Now, it doesn't change anything.
It doesn't.
But I heard that there was some acknowledgement that was a heck of a play and that it got maybe called the wrong way. So sorry to bring that up.
It's all right.
Sorry.
I mean,
let's go Rose-Hulman now. What's
well, I kind of want to touch on that.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, I like this. Let's go.
So, I don't know. I was just like, I've seen the play before. I was like thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah. Coach, you know what we're talking about?
I do. I wasn't there. I had something that came up that night, but I watched it like, seriously.
You just lost your super fan tag if you weren't there that night. So
I had a fire concert. I
well,
think
you're just a fan now, not a super fan. Okay.
But so then Han called the play, and I was like, great idea.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, and I was excited to shoot the free throws when I got them, but I never got them. And that whole summer, and I still think about it in clutch time when I'm shooting free throws. It's like, imagine shooting the free throws you never got at Bloomington North.
Yep.
And that was one thing I always thought when I was shooting free throws. Like, if you're going to make them, think about that time. So you make sure you make them.
Yeah, and, in the game of life, like, you're going to win and lose, and that's a loss that, you probably feel the rest of your life. But it was a heck of a moment, and there is no doubt
Yeah.
if you had your toes on that free throw line, we were winning that game.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. So,
Yep.
what to be is to be.
Exactly.
That's stinky. So, Rose-Hulman.
Okay.
What was your
Yeah.
what was Rose-Hulman best?
What's your best experience so far at Rose-Hulman?
Best experience so far at Rose-Hulman. Okay, so we were playing Anderson, and Anderson's won the conference, I think, the past 2 years or so. They got a really good player who's an All-American. And I guess the seniors at the time hadn't beat Rose-Hulman in their career. So it's been like 4 years. We play them twice a year, and we hadn't beat them. And so I was like, I want to beat them. This is my first year. I've never played them before. And so we go out there. They play a really good zone, and that's their identity. And so we went out there and we matched up, and we were keeping up with them. They went on some runs, got up by 10. We went up on some runs, got up by 10, and it was a close game back and forth. I was playing a pretty good game. I think I had like 22 points or something. And then we went on a buzzer beater, and it was our senior post guy who never shoots threes, and the ball gets tipped off an inbounds pass, and he catches it in the corner, fade away, one-legged three like Kawhi Leonard style in the playoffs, and bangs it, and it was insane.
You guys go nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite experience.
Man, and
Yeah.
like hearing you tell stories though, like basketball is such a beautiful game, and there's such the moments of the highs and lows, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the sounds and smells of the Southport game, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and just the excitement, and it's just a beautiful game, man. And I'm so happy that you have that passion for it, because it's, you know, it sounds like you're having a blast doing it, and
Yeah.
you know, you're setting yourself up for life. Past basketball, what's Joey gonna do? Like, I know you're extremely smart. Like,
Yeah.
Coach, we could put both our brains together right now, and it would not equal half of his, because this dude is intelligent. Well, half
You're
of
going to Rose-Hulman right there.
well, yeah, I know, but you probably have more, like maybe a quarter of my brain. Like, I have about a quarter. You probably have 3/4.
Third.
You have a third. Joey's got a full. So what's Joey studying in? What are we interested in? What do you want to do down the road?
So I'm studying mechanical engineering right now. Plan to spend my 4 years at Rose and then come out with a pretty good job. And I mean, part of the reason I wanted to go to Rose is because they set you up pretty well.
Yeah.
'Cause I think like average salary after Rose it's like $90K
Yep.
a month or a year.
A month.
I wish it was a
Yeah,
month.
golly, that's awesome. I'm going to Rose-Hulman.
But so I wanted to go somewhere that would set me up, and so I felt like this would be amazing. And
Yep.
I want to go be an engineer. I kind of want to work in the automotive field, in the newer automotive field. So I kind of want to go work on like autonomous vehicles, kind of stuff like that.
All
That's
right.
awesome.
So what does that entail? Like, I don't even know what autonomous means.
Autonomous means like self-driven, self-working.
Self.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. This is why we do this podcast, so I can learn too. I know what autonomous means. No, I don't really.
Okay.
All right. So no, what? So what? I mean, okay. So like Tesla.
Yes, Tesla would be a great
Yeah,
option.
all right,
I've
so-
heard great things about their internships and their jobs that they offer, but
Yeah.
they're super rare, super select. But there's so much other things in the world that are becoming fully autonomous,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I feel like there's so many opportunities for it.
What internship? I was told
Yeah.
you're not doing lessons this summer,
I mean,
or limited.
I'm limited lessons, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah. Joey's time is limited. He's
Yeah.
becoming a grown man now, but
So I mean, I had a couple
Wait till he
offers.
gets married.
I know.
I had a couple internship offers out there on the table, and I kind of just want to do something this summer that would kind of introduce me to the engineering field, kind of get me going in the right direction, give me a background that might help me in the future somewhere else. And it's super hard to get a freshman intern. Like, I applied to maybe 30 places, I think, and got denied to 25.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, fine. Because I didn't really expect to have an internship this summer. I mean, they say only 20% of Rose kids get an internship. And so I just kept applying, trying to find somebody. And I had one from a place called L&E Engineering, which is in Greenwood. And they work on aerospace engines. But they're strictly like a manufacturing plant for aerospace, like tubes on the engines.
Yeah.
So I thought that would have been pretty cool. I would be working kind of in the automotive field,
Yeah.
getting some experience there. And then I got another one that was like in the medical field, which is totally different. Again, it was like a manufacturing plant, but with this one, I'd be doing a lot more design work. So I'd be designing like specific medical trays that you'd put in a procedural room, maybe, and like some like I guess they do like boxes and some parts for medical procedures. And so, I mean, it's not the field that I want to be in, like specific field, but it's more design work, which is kind of what I want to do, and it's also manufacturing too, which helps a lot, I guess, in the engineering industry, because you get to see how things are made, and you can design anything you want, but if it can't be made, then it's not going to come to life. And I think that's something I wanted to learn this summer, was how to do that. So
a little nerd talk, and I'm done, Coach. What are you when you design, or is it like is it like CAD? What does that look like? And I'm a nerd, but so like, what is that? Are you working in CAD all the time? Okay.
So design is strictly CAD. For the internship that I took, I'm going to be CADing all the time. I'm going to be getting products off the manufacturing line, changing them, modifying them, CADing them. But it's also like you get kind of, because this is a firm, like they get projects coming in and they have to design this project in, because the company wants something, you got to make it. And so the company I'm going to is kind of like, they get a project from a medical industry, and they got to create it and figure out how to put it together, and that's also a part of the design versus just
a lot of creativity,
CADing it. Because they don't just always send you a picture and then so you got to make it up.
It's not like they give you a blueprint. It's like, but they're giving you basically a whiteboard or white paper.
You start from scratch. That's what I like about it.
Awesome. I got one comment, and then I'm done. I'm getting dirty looks from Coach Wood right now. We're gonna start doing live, Joey. So when I mention these things, when Coach gives me these side eyes and all that,
it's gonna be seen on camera.
Yeah, we're gonna have this on, so then I can get a support group, and it really takes some time for me to recover. But I just want to mention your parents, especially your dad, Kelly. I over the last few years, this just in basketball, Hardwood Club, Booster Club, and and I remember meeting your dad. I think you're maybe 7th, 8th grade, or we were up at Grand Park, and Kellen was hooping, and we were watching you, and introduced myself to your dad, and just told him how much I loved watching you play, and excited at the next level, whatever. And I think that kind of stuck with both of us. That just quick interaction there, and then working with him the last couple of years. And I always joke with him, like, we'll be setting something up, and I'll set a thing of napkins down, and he'll come right behind me and like move them because they're not in the right spot, right? Like he and I give him heck for it, but he's a loyal guy. He's sharp as heck. I appreciate his friendship, and I appreciate the time that we've had. So you've got a good one and a dad and a mom, and I know you're grateful for that, but I think it's important too that, it's just not Joey Schmitz coming up and figuring it out. Like, there are people around you that want to see you succeed, and then it starts with your mom and dad, and I've just appreciated your dad's friendship and loyalty and times of distress, and I know he's been frustrated through the process of growing, watching you grow up, and that's just how it is as a dad. And we've had some meaningful conversations, but man, he's an awesome human being. Make sure you appreciate him if you don't, and tell him you love him, man.
Yep, I will.
And saying that, I'm closing. We appreciate you, Coach. It's all you. Close us out. And
no, like I said, we appreciate tremendously, Joey, coming on, and we look forward to watching your career both on the basketball court at Rose-Hulman, as well as your post opportunities for your career professionally. Your internships this summer, and those opportunities sound very impressive. And I've got a brother-in-law who is pretty high up in Cummins downtown. So,
nice.
I don't know. You never know. I mean, he's been involved in doing the diesel engines at one time for the semis, and
you might know some people at Cummins too, I think, right?
I do.
So, but from my standpoint, I just appreciate, and the idea of having you on here for me was you as a role model for kids. For me, I've got a 6th grade son. Rob's got a 7th grade son, and just knowing what you represent to the kids in the community, just hearing you during this podcast today, those values, those traits, the mindset that you have about making yourself consistently try to make yourself get better and never be satisfied, and taking something that's an adversity like your freshman year of high school and building off of that to become a better player.
Yeah.
and a better person.
Yeah.
So I hope you have an opportunity to join us again later as we try to do some new initiatives here in the Center Grove Trojan Beat. But got a busy schedule, it sounds like.
I do, yeah. I mean, summer's perfect. I could come in any time in the summer, but Terre Haute's a little far, so.
Real quick, just because I spent some time in Terre Haute.
Didn't he say he was done?
Yeah, I did. I know. That's my cue. Hey, what best place about Terre Haute?
Best place?
Yeah, best place in Terre Haute.
Oh,
like
gosh.
to eat. Like, where is there? I can't tell you about my time in Terre Haute, but I want to know about your time.
My time, so far, the best place that I've eaten, besides Taco Bell.
Ooh.
I love my Taco Bell. But, anyways, there's a place called Logan's, like, Steakhouse, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like a small little supper club that kind of looks a little janky on the outside. But you go
legit.
in, there's buffet, like
Legit.
good steak, like
Wow.
cheap.
Yeah.
Super nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Is Ballyhoo still over there? And do you know what that is? You probably don't.
I haven't explored all of it yet.
Yeah, that's
I try and try something new every time.
Well, that's probably not a place where you're gonna go. That's over in the other side
Okay.
of town. So anyway, all right. Close us out, Coach.
All right. Well, Joey Schmitz, thanks for joining us here
Yep.
on the Center Grove Trojan Beat podcast. Our special thanks to Tony and Strange Brew for hosting us here today on this beautiful Saturday, and also thanks to More Lawn Care for helping to provide us some financial opportunities here to help continue to grow this program. So thank you to all of those who listen, and stay tuned as much more is to come here on the Center Grove Trojan Beat. Thanks again, Rob Thompson, and special thanks to Joey Schmitz. I'm Chris Wood. Have a great day.